You're listening to the Homeownership podcast by Movementum Realty, real estate talk for buying, selling, and owning property.
Hey guys, Sean Patrick Maloney here, broker owner of Movementum Realty, located in Hanover, Massachusetts. Welcome to episode 2, a step-by-step guide to the home buying process. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Maloney. This week we're going to go over buying a home and the different steps to it, piece by piece, so you understand the entire process. Step 1 is to figure out about your current housing and how you're going to work with it. If you have a current home, will you be selling that home, or will you be keeping both of them? Do you have options of having a bridge loan, or do you have to sell the first home in order to own the second home? These are all going to become very important as you identify a home that you want to buy. The other option is if you're a renter. Can you cut your lease short, or do you have to talk to the landlord? You're going to have to buy out of your lease, or can you sublet to somebody else? These are all things that are going to make a big difference in the number and when you can actually move. And planning your move might be more important than ever if you're in a lease, because sometimes it's tough to find that gap in between where you can make the move, so make sure you plan that ahead of time. Step 2 is identifying the amount of down payment that you'll have available. You really need to think about everything in the process. A lot of people forget about the little things like home inspection and how that's going to cost you at least $500. And then other things like the fact that you have an application fee and you have closing costs to do with your loan. Down payment is one thing, but closing costs are another thing. Most closing costs are at least $3,000, and they continue to grow the more expensive the home is. Step 3 is working with a bank or a lender to find out how much you're pre-approved for so you can shop within your price range. I can't recommend this one enough. A lot of people want to get out there and they want to look right away as soon as they're thinking about buying a home. But the risk involved in this is one or the other. Looking at homes that are inexpensive for your budget and not finding anything you like and wasting a whole bunch of time, or looking at homes that you love except for you can't afford them, and then you eventually have to pull yourself away from them once you get your pre-approval and realize that you can't make an offer on that home. I think the best thing to do is start with that pre-approval, so that way there when you meet with your agent, you can hand them the pre-approval and you can be shopping within the right price range right away. Next is to choose the agent that you're going to use. When choosing an agent, there's a lot of different things you want to look at, but one of the most important things you want to look at is their availability for you, the client, and whether they're going to make the effort to get out there and meet you and show you every home on the market, or if they're just going to try to sell you the first one. An agent that goes out there and shows you everything and really insinuates that you should see a lot, they're in it so that you get the right home and not just any home. The next thing you want to do once you pick the agent is tell them your specifications. This includes the town, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, square footage you might like, other things like garage, maybe you want a pool or you want to have a yard, any of those things that you need to mention to them at the beginning. And always remember, have a list of the must-haves versus the wants. It's one thing to say I have to have a garage. It's another thing to say I want to have a garage. If you want to have a garage, maybe we can buy you a piece of property where you have a big piece of land and eventually you can add the garage once it's within the budget. This isn't always available. If it's in the must-have category, we have to put the garage in there. When we do the search, you might not see the property with the big piece of land that doesn't have the garage because you told us that you must have it. So when doing searches, you want to really be limited on your specifications down to the specific ones that you know how many minimum bedrooms, minimum bathrooms, because if you put in too many things, it's easier to sort through the property than not to see it at all. The next step, step 5, get out there and begin the process of getting out to look at homes. Make sure you do some drive-bys. You're never sure about the area until you do a drive-by. Photos can be deceiving and show angles that make things look like a big yard or a small yard or anything like that. So really get out there and take a look at it. Then you identify a property, call your agent, get them out there so that they can show you it. Remember that real estate agents can show every property. One misconception is that you can only call the agent on the sign. No, you want to call your buyer's agent, the buyer's agent that you trust and you're working with that's going to show you every house. That way there you get an honest deal and you have someone negotiating on your behalf when you're ready to place an offer. Once you started getting out there and taking a look at homes, you're going to find the one that you want. The next step is to make sure you review the home seller's disclosure if there is one available, and also get ready to make an offer on the property. Sometimes it's important to do a reverse CMA, to do your own comparative market analysis and figure out what you think the home is worth before you make an offer. You can also stop by the town hall at this point, take a look at the folder for the property, go by the Conservation Commission, the Board of Health, as well as the building department, and pull the folder and check out that they used building permits and that everything was done within the law as well as check to make sure that there are no unknown wetlands or anything like that on the property so that you know you're getting a good purchase. Once you know all that, talk to your agent to formulate an offer, put the offer on paper, and then send it over to the other party. While you're writing that offer, you might need to sign a lead paint disclosure, if there's one available. If the home was built pre-1978, there could be lead paint involved, so there'll need to be a disclosure on hand. This should be signed at the time of the offer. Once the seller receives the offer, they have a few options. 1 would be to accept the offer, 2 would be to deny the offer, or 3 would be to go back with their own terms and renegotiate the offer. When they renegotiate the offer, that means that you are out of your original offer, which means you do not have to accept the renegotiation and you can walk away with your deposit at that time. Hopefully you get the home though. After you've done that, now it's time to get into home inspection. You have 10 days to get your home inspected. You can bring in everything from electricians to plumbers to home inspectors. Anyone you bring in needs to be licensed so that their opinion counts. This isn't a time to nitpick a home. This is a time to find major defects or serious problems. After you've done your home inspection, if there are any issues, it's time to renegotiate if it's something major. But if it's something minor, it may be just time to move on and move forward. If you find something major and you can't renegotiate, this may be a time to walk away. If you walk away because of a bad home inspection, you do get your deposit returned to you. Once you have an accepted offer and you're working on the home inspection, it's time to stop drafting the purchase and sale agreement and possibly activating a real estate attorney to help with this draft. At this point, the agent's a little bit past their job other than giving you a standard purchase and sale agreement. Most people hire an attorney to make sure that they get the best terms on the purchase and sale agreement and they're custom written to their needs. Once the seller has changed the purchase and sale agreement with their attorney, your attorney will get back and review it again. This can go back and forth many times until they become into agreement of terms that best satisfy both clients' needs. Once you're into the purchase and sale agreement, it's time to finally do the formal mortgage application. This is where you're going to actually pay for your mortgage application and you're really firm in with the bank that you're going to be buying a home. This is the home, and now it's time to do the paperwork. Once you've filled that out, it's going to take somewhere between 50 to 30 days from then in order for the company to get out there, appraise the home, and to get ready for the closing. After you've filled out this application, there's really not a ton left to do. We're going to have a lot of waiting time in between. The next most important event will be the appraisal. The appraisal has to come in at or above value that we offered, or it can have issues with the bank. The bank won't want to lend on the home, and it may cause the staff to renegotiate with the sellers. In order to renegotiate with the sellers, though, when you made the offer, you needed to put in the terms that the home must appraise at or above purchase price. This is really important because in a market with fast climbing home prices, sometimes sellers get really greedy on what they want and they ask for more than the home is worth, and it leads you into a hole where you've bought into a home for far too much money and then you end up having to put cash forward in order to close that home so that you don't have it get denied by the bank because the bank won't take on a negative asset. So that means you'll have to leverage some of your money to make sure that you offset the bank's chances of loss. After we have the home appraisal and we have a good price, we didn't have to negotiate. It's time to move forward. During this process, the bank's going to do a title search and make sure the home is free of liens and encumbrances and that it's ready to go and ready to close on. Once everything's done there, the mortgage commitment's going to come out. The mortgage commitment is a letter from the bank stating that everything is good, everything is cleared, and they just need to put together your funding and it will be your money, but you're locked in and they commit that they're going to close this loan. During the time between here and closing, this is a good time to get all those different things done, like have the oil changed over, have the water changed over, have the gas changed over. To get this information, you should speak to your agent, who will speak to the listing agent and get you the information you need in order to change everything over so that the day of the closing goes over smoothly. Don't forget if there's propane on the property, that the propane tank may be a lease. And if you don't sign up with the old company, you need to have a new company come deliver the tank because you will not have gas at the time of the new home. You really want to make sure these line up because it can be a bummer if it's a really cold day and you don't have any heat for the rest of the afternoon until the propane company can deliver a new tank. After you've done all that, sit back and relax, get ready. On the day of the closing, just make sure you bring your checkbook and license and any other paperwork that the attorney or agent tells you to bring. At the closing, while you're signing all these documents, make sure to ask any questions you have about any documents and be comfortable with it. After the closing, they're going to go over to the registry of deeds and they're going to register the title. And then the home is officially your home, and congratulations, you're a home buyer. If this sounds like a lot, which I'm sure it does, it may be a great idea to hire a professional like an agent over at Movementum Realty. If you're looking to buy a home, reach out to us direct. Follow us on the podcast and enjoy your week. Have a great day.